In 2013, a young Canadian student vanished inside Los Angeles' most notorious hotel. Days later, guests complained of foul-tasting water. The truth was more disturbing than anyone imagined. This is the documented story of Elisa Lam, her final days, the Cecil Hotel, and the investigation that followed. Who was Elisa Lam? Elisa Lam was born on April 30th, 1991 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. She was the daughter of immigrants from Hong Kong. Her family ran a restaurant in Burnaby, a suburb of Vancouver. Elisa was the eldest of two daughters. She grew up in a close-knit household. Friends and relatives described her as bright, thoughtful, and curious. She loved books and often shared her reading lists online. She also wrote openly about her feelings and struggles on her personal blog. Elisa attended the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. She was enrolled but had taken time off from her studies. According to official reports, Elisa was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. Medical records show she was prescribed several medications including Wellbutrin, lamotrigine, Seroquel, and Effexor. Her doctors noted she had a history of not always taking her medication consistently. Despite these struggles, Elisa tried to stay connected. She used social media, especially Tumblr, to express herself. Her posts included quotes, personal reflections, and photos from her daily life. Some entries described loneliness, pressure to succeed, and episodes of depression. Others were lighter, showing her sense of humor and her love for art and fashion. In January 2013, Elisa decided to travel alone to California. She wanted to see new places and take a break from her routine in Vancouver. She planned her trip to include several cities: San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Cruz, and San Francisco. Elisa kept her family updated with calls every day. Her parents supported her trip but worried about her safety. Elisa promised to check in regularly. When she left for California, she was 21 years old. On January 26, 2013, Elisa arrived in Los Angeles. She checked into the Cecil Hotel 2 days later. This would be the last stop of her trip. Elisa's background shows both promise and struggle. She was a young student with dreams and curiosity, but also a history of mental health challenges. These details later became central to understanding her case. The Cecil Hotel setting. The Cecil Hotel opened in 1927 in downtown Los Angeles. It was built as a budget hotel meant to attract business travelers and tourists. At the time, the building was considered modern, with a marble lobby, stained glass windows, and ornate fixtures. The hotel's early years were stable, but the Great Depression hit soon after opening. The area around the hotel declined rapidly. Over the decades, downtown Los Angeles became known for crime, poverty, and drugs. The Cecil's reputation shifted from a respectable place to a troubled one. By the 1960s, the hotel was renting rooms long-term to low-income residents. It stood near Skid Row, an area with thousands of unhoused people in shelters. This gave the building a mix of short-term guests and permanent tenants. The Cecil became linked to crime and tragedy. Historical records show it was the site of multiple suicides over the decades. Two infamous serial killers stayed there during the 1980s. Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, lived at the Cecil while committing murders in Los Angeles. Jack Unterweger, an Austrian serial killer, also stayed at the hotel while posing as a journalist. Police reports and news coverage connected the building with violent incidents, overdoses, and disappearances. The hotel's name became tied to danger. Still, it continued to operate because of its low rates and central location. In 2007, new management rebranded part of the building as Stay on Main. This was marketed as a hostel-style option for younger travelers. It used separate floors from long-term residents but shared the same entrance, lobby, and elevators. The goal was to attract budget-conscious tourists who might overlook the hotel's history. By 2013, the Cecil had 600 guest rooms. Online reviews at the time showed a mix of opinions. Some travelers noted cheap prices and convenience. Others described unsafe conditions and encounters with crime nearby. Despite its reputation, the building remained a popular stop for backpackers and international visitors looking for affordable lodging in Los Angeles. Elisa Lam chose the hotel during her California trip because it was inexpensive and advertised as youth-friendly through the Stay on Main program. It was also located close to public transit and downtown attractions. The Cecil Hotel was more than a backdrop. Its history of violence and its location in Skid Row shaped how people later viewed Elisa's case. When her disappearance made headlines, the building's past quickly became part of the story. Timeline of Elisa's final days. January 26, 2013. Elisa Lam arrived in Los Angeles by Amtrak from San Diego. She had already visited San Diego as part of her California trip. She checked into the Cecil Hotel 2 days later, on January 28th. January 28th. Elisa was assigned to a shared hostel-style room on the 5th floor of the Cecil. Other travelers later told staff that her behavior seemed unusual. Some said she left notes on beds telling them to go away. Others said she talked strangely or acted paranoid. Hotel management moved her to a private room the same day. January 29th to 30. Elisa continued sightseeing around Los Angeles. Receipts and her blog posts confirmed she visited several spots. She shopped at local stores and explored parts of downtown. January 31st. This was the last day Elisa was seen alive. A bookstore manager at the last bookstore, located a short distance from the hotel, remembered her visit. The manager described her as friendly and lively. Elisa bought books and music to take home as gifts for her family. Later that day, Elisa returned to the hotel. Security cameras placed her in the building. By night, she stopped answering her family's calls. February 1st. Elisa's family in Vancouver expected her to check in by phone. When she did not call, they became concerned. Her parents contacted Los Angeles police to report her missing. The family then traveled to Los Angeles to help with the search. February 6th, the LAPD began its investigation. Detectives searched Elisa's room at the hotel. They found her belongings, including her wallet, laptop, and clothes. Nothing suggested she had left voluntarily. Police brought in search dogs. They checked the hotel's hallways, rooftop, and the area outside the building. The dogs tracked her scent but lost it inside the hotel. Flyers with Elisa's photo were distributed across Los Angeles. News stations began to cover the case. Police interviewed hotel staff and guests. No one could explain where she had gone. February 7 to 12. As the search continued, investigators reviewed surveillance tapes. Dozens of cameras were installed around the hotel. On February 13th, LAPD released one clip to the public, the now famous elevator footage. February 13th, the elevator video. The video, taken on February 1st, showed Elisa entering an elevator. She pressed multiple buttons. She moved in and out of the car. She stepped to the side, gestured with her hands, and appeared to be hiding or speaking to someone. Finally, she left, and the elevator doors closed. The video was posted online and broadcast widely. It spread quickly across YouTube and international news. Viewers around the world debated what her movements meant. Some thought she looked frightened. Others suggested she was playing. The footage became one of the most discussed pieces of evidence in the case. February 14th, 18. Despite the public attention, no new leads came in. Elisa remained missing. Hotel guests began complaining about the water supply. They said the water tasted odd, looked discolored, and had weak pressure. Maintenance staff began checking the pipes and rooftop water tanks. February 19th, discovery. On the morning of February 19th, a maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez went to inspect the hotel's water system. He climbed to the roof, reached the water tanks, and noticed one of the hatches was open. Inside, he saw the body of a young woman floating. Police confirmed the body was Elisa Lam. She had been missing for nearly 3 weeks. The investigation and elevator footage. The Los Angeles Police Department handled Elisa Lam's case. From the start, detectives treated it as a missing person investigation. When her parents reported her missing on February 1st, 2013, officers met them at the Cecil Hotel. Initial search police entered Elisa's room. They found her belongings, including prescription medications, clothes, and her laptop. Her wallet and identification were still there. Nothing indicated she had packed to leave. Detectives searched common areas. They interviewed staff and guests. Elisa had been seen behaving oddly, but no one reported a clear confrontation or crime. The LAPD brought in K9 units. Dogs checked hallways, the roof, and nearby streets. They followed her scent inside the hotel, but it did not lead to an exit. Police noted no signs of forced entry in her room or around the building. Ongoing efforts. Over the next week, the search widened. Flyers with Elisa's photo were posted across Los Angeles. News outlets began covering the story. The case drew attention because she was a young tourist in a dangerous part of the city. Still, leads were scarce. Detectives knew the Cecil Hotel had many cameras. They reviewed hours of surveillance footage. Most clips showed nothing unusual. One recording, however, captured Elisa shortly before she vanished. The elevator footage. On February 13, 2013, LAPD released the clip to the public. The video came from a security camera on the 14th floor, inside an elevator. It was time-stamped February 1st. The footage shows Elisa wearing a red zip-up hoodie, black shorts, and sandals. She steps into the elevator and presses multiple buttons. She waits, but the doors do not close. She leans forward, peeks out, then jumps back inside. At times, she presses against the wall. Elisa steps in and out several times. She makes hand gestures, spreading her fingers and moving them in unusual patterns. At one point, she appears to talk or signal toward the hallway. After nearly 4 minutes, she walks away. The elevator doors close, then open and close again without anyone entering. Public reaction. The video was uploaded to YouTube by the LAPD. It went viral within hours. Millions of viewers studied every frame. News stations aired the footage worldwide. People debated what they were seeing. Some believed Elisa was hiding from someone. Others thought she was playing or under the influence of drugs. Many noted her hand movements and speculated about her mental state. The unusual behavior fueled online theories. Police-positioned detectives did not confirm any theories from the video. They stated only that it showed Elisa's last known appearance on February 1st. Investigators searched floors around the elevator and questioned more guests. No one recalled following her or seeing her afterward. The LAPD confirmed that no evidence of foul play appeared in her room or in the areas checked. The video remained the strongest clue until her body was discovered. Importance of the video. The elevator footage changed the case. Before its release, Elisa was a missing student. Afterward, the mystery captured worldwide attention. The clip became central to the investigation and public memory of the case. Officially, the video was considered part of the timeline but did not prove criminal activity. It showed Elisa's actions but not what happened next. Detectives continued the search, focusing on the hotel itself. Discovery of the body. By mid-February 2013, the search for Elisa Lam had gone on for nearly 3 weeks. Police had checked the building several times with dogs. Flyers were spread around Los Angeles. Still, no progress was made. During this time, hotel guests began complaining about the water supply. Visitors reported low water pressure, dark-colored water, and a foul taste. Some said the water came out black at first before running clear. On February 19th, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez went to the rooftop to inspect the tanks. The Cecil Hotel had 4 large metal water tanks, each supplying the guest rooms, the kitchen, and a coffee shop. Access to the roof was controlled. A locked door and an alarm system were installed, but there were also fire escapes that bypassed the alarm. Lopez climbed to the roof using a ladder. He reached one of the tanks and noticed the hatch was open. Inside, he saw what appeared to be a body floating face up. He immediately contacted hotel management, who called the police. When officers arrived, they confirmed the discovery. The body was recovered later that day by the Los Angeles Fire Department. It was identified as Elisa Lam. She was unclothed, though her clothes were found floating in the water beside her. Her personal items, including her watch and hotel key, were also recovered from the tank. The water tanks were each about 10 feet tall and 4 feet wide. They stood on concrete blocks. To reach the top, Lopez had used a fixed ladder. Each tank had a metal hatch that was heavy but could be opened by hand. Police confirmed the hatch where Elisa was found was open when discovered. Hotel operations were immediately disrupted. Guests were moved out, and health officials investigated. The discovery made international headlines within hours. News coverage highlighted both the disturbing details and the eerie connection to the earlier elevator video. Police secured the area for forensic review. Detectives documented the rooftop access points, the ladders, and the tanks. They found no evidence of forced entry. No tools or unusual items were recovered nearby. The discovery of Elisa Lam's body brought the missing person case to an end but opened new questions. How had she reached the roof? Why was she in the tank? Was anyone else involved? Officially, police treated the case as unexplained until the coroner's report was completed. In the days following, the focus shifted from searching for a missing person to understanding how Elisa died. The rooftop discovery marked the most shocking moment of the case. It also became the lasting image tied to Elisa Lam, a young traveler whose body was found in a water tank on top of Los Angeles's most notorious hotel. Autopsy and toxicology. After Elisa Lam's body was removed from the water tank, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office took custody. The autopsy was performed on February 21, 2013. The official report was released in June of the same year. Autopsy findings. The coroner documented Elisa's condition in detail. Her body showed no signs of physical trauma, assault, or restraint. There were no broken bones, stab wounds, or evidence of external injuries. Examiners also found no indication of sexual assault. The lungs contained fluid, consistent with drowning. The coroner noted moderate decomposition, which was expected given the time in water. A foam-like material was present in her airways, another sign of drowning. The body showed bloating and skin separation typical of prolonged water exposure. The autopsy confirmed that Elisa's clothes had been removed. Her red hoodie, shorts, underwear, and sandals were found in the tank with her. Personal belongings, including a watch and room key, were also recovered from the water. The coroner noted that her clothes were coated in sand-like particles, likely from the tank. Toxicology testing blood and tissue samples were tested for drugs, alcohol, and medication. No recreational drugs were detected. Alcohol was absent. Prescription medications were present, but results showed inconsistent levels. Lamotrigine, quetiapine, and venlafaxine were detected. Bupropion, another drug she had been prescribed, was absent. Some medications appeared below the expected therapeutic range. This suggested she had not taken her full set of prescriptions in the days leading up to her death. The coroner concluded that Elisa had been taking some, but not all of her medication. The report noted that this imbalance could contribute to disorganized thinking, mood instability, and altered behavior. Cause of death. The coroner listed the official cause of death as accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder noted as a significant condition. This meant her mental health diagnosis was considered a factor in her death, though not the sole cause. The report emphasized the absence of evidence for homicide. No toxins, no physical injuries, and no signs of struggle were present. The manner of death was classified as accidental, not undetermined or homicidal. Public release. When the report was released in June 2013, it was covered widely in the press. Many noted the gap between Elisa's disappearance on February 1st and the discovery of her body on February 19th. Questions about how she reached the roof remained. Still, the medical findings confirmed no foul play. The coroner's office stood by its conclusion. Elisa drowned in the tank and her mental health was likely a factor. The incomplete medication use suggested she was not stable at the time. Family reaction. The Lam family did not dispute the autopsy findings but continued to seek answers about hotel security. They later filed a wrongful death suit against the Cecil Hotel, arguing that the building should have prevented Elisa from accessing the roof and the tanks. The case was dismissed by the court in 2015. Significance. The autopsy and toxicology results closed the scientific side of the case. They provided clear answers on how Elisa died, but not why she entered the tank. The report removed speculation of drug use or physical attack. Instead, it pointed back to her mental health history and the dangers of an unsecured building. The medical findings became a foundation for official closure. The LAPD considered the case solved, but the lack of clear explanation kept the public interest alive. Public reaction and conspiracy theories. The discovery of Elisa Lam's body and the release of the elevator footage triggered global attention. Within days, the case spread from local Los Angeles news to international headlines. The video was shared millions of times on YouTube and social media. Viral impact. Viewers studied Elisa's movements frame by frame. Some believed she was hiding from someone. Others thought she was under the influence of drugs. Mental health advocates pointed to the possibility of a bipolar episode. The footage became one of the most watched police videos on the internet. The strange behavior in the elevator led to waves of speculation. Online forums, blogs, and YouTube channels debated theories. Paranormal explanations circulated, linking the case to the hotel's history of suicides and murders. Others suggested foul play despite the lack of evidence. False accusations. Theories quickly crossed into harmful territory. A Mexican musician known as Morbid, who had previously posted dark-themed videos and stayed at the Cecil Hotel, was targeted online. Internet users accused him of involvement without any evidence. He faced harassment and death threats. Police confirmed he had no connection to Elisa's death and was in Mexico at the time. Media coverage. Mainstream media picked up the viral story. News outlets highlighted the mystery of the elevator video and the shocking discovery in the water tank. Documentaries and podcasts later examined the case. In 2021, Netflix released Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. The series focused on the events, but also criticized the online harassment of innocent people. Public debate. The case fueled ongoing debates about mental health, online speculation, and the role of social media in criminal investigations. Officials emphasized that the coroner's findings were clear. Elisa Lam drowned accidentally, with bipolar disorder as a contributing factor. Yet, for many in the public, unanswered questions kept the story alive. The spread of conspiracy theories showed how quickly speculation can overwhelm verified facts. The elevator video remained the central image, and the Cecil Hotel's dark reputation magnified the mystery. Official closure and aftermath. After the autopsy report, the Los Angeles Police Department closed the investigation. Detectives accepted the coroner's conclusion. Elisa Lam drowned accidentally, with bipolar disorder listed as a contributing factor. No evidence of foul play was ever found. Family lawsuit. In 2014, Elisa's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel. They argued the building had failed to protect her by allowing access to the roof and water tanks. Hotel lawyers responded that Elisa's death was unforeseeable and that there were measures in place to restrict access. A judge dismissed the case in 2015, ruling the hotel was not liable. Hotel reputation. The case renewed focus on the hotel's long, troubled history. The Cecil was already infamous for its connection to crime and serial killers. Elisa's death added another layer. Public interest turned the building into a landmark of dark tourism. Visitors came to see the lobby, the elevator, and even the rooftop, despite restrictions. In later years, the hotel was closed for renovations. The building was rebranded again as part of redevelopment efforts, but its past remained part of its identity. Documentaries, YouTube videos, and podcasts continued to use the Cecil as a symbol of mystery. Cultural impact. Elisa Lam's story became one of the most widely discussed internet mysteries of the 2010s. The elevator footage has been viewed tens of millions of times. Her case is referenced in music, film, and online discussions about mental health. Netflix's 2021 series highlighted not only her death, but also the impact of online speculation. It showed how amateur investigations led to false accusations and misinformation. The documentary reminded viewers that real families are affected by public theories. Lessons and legacy. The official record shows Elisa Lam was a young woman living with bipolar disorder who traveled alone, stayed in a dangerous building, and died by accidental drowning. Yet the way her story spread online revealed how digital culture shapes modern true crime. For her family, the loss was deeply personal. For the public, her case became a mirror of fear, curiosity, and the dangers of speculation. Elisa Lam's case began as a missing person report from a worried family. It ended with the discovery of her body in a rooftop water tank at the Cecil Hotel. The investigation produced no evidence of a crime. The coroner ruled her death accidental with bipolar disorder as a significant factor. Those are the facts. They are supported by police reports, medical records, and court filings. Yet the story did not stay confined to those documents. The elevator video gave the world a haunting image. Millions watched, searched, and speculated. The mystery traveled faster than the truth. For Elisa's parents, the case was not an internet puzzle. It was the loss of their daughter. They sought accountability through a lawsuit, but the court dismissed it. No ruling, no documentary, no theory could replace what they lost. The Cecil Hotel also became a character in the story. Its history of crime and tragedy shaped how people viewed Elisa's death. The building's name is now permanently tied to her case. Even after renovations and rebranding, the hotel's image remains connected to fear and curiosity. Elisa's story also shows how mental health must be part of the conversation. The toxicology results confirmed she was not consistently taking her prescribed medications. Her bipolar disorder was listed as a contributing factor in her death. These details remind us that health conditions are real, and ignoring them can be dangerous. The case leaves lessons for the public. First, official records matter. Speculation can cause harm, as seen when an innocent musician was falsely accused. Second, stories can spiral online, distorting reality. What is shared in forums or videos can affect real people in devastating ways. And finally, Elisa's life deserves to be remembered beyond the elevator video. She was a daughter, a student, a traveler, and a young woman with hopes and struggles. Her death was a tragedy, but her humanity should not be reduced to mystery alone. The truth is not as sensational as the theories. It is simple and painful. Elisa Lam drowned in a hotel water tank while far from home. Her case is closed, but her story continues to echo as one of the most haunting tragedies of the digital age.